In the silent night of October 2025, the waters of the Baltic seemed to hold their breath. At the port of Primorske, Russia's largest oil export gateway, two giant tankers belonging to Moscow's Shadow Fleet were quietly preparing a cargo worth hundreds of millions of dollars. None of the watch sailors that day knew that just hours later, the port would be transformed into a sea of fire and become the focal point of one of the boldest strike operations in modern history. More than 1,000 kilometers away, inside a secret facility in central Ukraine, young engineers were monitoring rows of green blinking signals on screens. At 00:25, the final order was issued. Dozens of drones, the result of months of design, testing, and camouflage, launched simultaneously. No noise, no lights, only moonlight reflected on plywood wings. They were the Locust Swarm, the nickname the Ukrainian military gave to a mixed UAV formation of more than 70 drones, ranging from cheap decoys like the AQ-400 Scythe to the Ace UJ-26 Bober ERs armed with 40-kilogram warheads. The ultimate target? Primorsque, the oil heart of Russia in the Baltic. At a long-range radar station in Leningrad Oblast, screens suddenly lit up. More than 70 distinct returns appeared at once, moving along strange trajectories. Technicians realized something unusual: very small radar cross-sections, flight paths scattered across the front. Could be rain, a young officer murmured. But seconds later, that stream of returns had filled the entire southern sky over St. Petersburg. Warning signals were immediately relayed to the Regional Air Defense Command. The Big Bird 91N6E radar system confirmed those objects were rapidly entering Russian airspace. Sirens screamed, emergency lights turned red. The entire air defense network was activated. Powerful S-400 batteries, icons of Russia's air defense, began locking on targets. At lower tiers, Panzer's C-1 complexes fired in rapid succession. The 30mm guns roared through the night, creating a bright wall of fire over the Baltic sky. "We are under attack," a call rang out over the radio from a unit in Gachinki. But in reality, they did not know they were facing cheap decoys. While Russia's air defense web was being stretched, Ukraine's real strike UAVs were quietly flying low, following rivers to avoid radar. The whole plan was layered, each layer an illusion set up to trap the adversary. 35 scythes were sent straight towards St. Petersburg, forcing the S-400s to fire continuously. 40 others dispersed across Leningrad, sowing confusion across the front. Meanwhile, only 15 Bober ERs, the real attackers, flew in the central axis, shielded by Banshee 7 electronic warfare UAVs. Banshee 7 did not carry explosives, but antennas and sophisticated jamming equipment. Their mission was to blind Russian radars, causing all target locks to be lost. On the other side, Russian commanders believed they had successfully repelled a major attack. Victory reports were sent up the chain, reinforcing the illusion that their multi-layered defense systems were working perfectly. But they had no idea the enemy had slipped round right beneath them. When the fierce counterattack ended, 33 Ukrainian UAVs had been shot down, but 7 Bober ERs remained intact and carried the decisive payload. At 4:45 a.m., the Primorsque air defense radar detected 7 signals closing in. The Panzer system fired dozens of interceptors, but all missed.
The UAVs flew too low, too fast, and at distances too close for the defenses to respond in time. They split into two groups. 3 targeted the central pumping station, while the other 4 rushed toward the pier where 2 oil tankers were moored, Kapitan and Sergei Gorshkov. The first slammed into the control building, creating an explosion so large the blast wave collapsed an entire row of concrete. The second struck the main pipeline, shutting down the entire pumping system. At the same time, the 4 other UAVs dove onto the pier. 2 hit the Kapitan, 1 exploded directly under the berth, destroying electrical equipment, and the other detonated an oil storage tank. 2 others struck the Sergei Gorshkov, blowing up the engine room. Fires erupted violently and spread to 2 other Aframax tankers, Kusto and Kailin, both part of Russia's Shadow Fleet, moored just a few dozen meters away. Within 40 seconds, the whole port was an inferno. Fire crews could not reach the central area. Fuel leaking from the pipeline poured straight into the sea, forming a thick layer of burning oil on the water. A column of black smoke rose hundreds of meters high, visible from St. Petersburg. Emergency shutdown orders could not be transmitted. The control systems had been destroyed. At dawn, Primorsque was a pile of ashes. 2 giant oil tankers lay listing to one side, smoke still billowing from their molten steel hulls.
Primorsque normally handles up to 20% of Russia's seaborne oil exports. Each day, it pumps out over 1 million barrels of crude oil. Now, all operations were halted, costing Moscow between $70 and $80 million in revenue per day. The consequences did not stop at the port. Regional radar disruption forced Pulkovo Airport to divert 11 commercial flights. Analysts say Ukraine achieved 3 tactical breakthroughs in a single operation, expanding UAV range beyond 1,000 kilometers, saturating Russian air defenses with a large number of decoy targets, using electronic warfare to conceal the real strike. Recovered debris later found in Uzmino and Paskovie revealed that the navigation software had been deliberately misrouted. Clear evidence that this was not merely an attack, but a comprehensive test of Russia's defensive capabilities. Leningrad Oblast, home to the headquarters of the 6th Combined Arms Army, the 2nd Mechanized Division, and the Baltic Fleet, should have been one of the most heavily protected regions. Yet its defensive grid was oriented primarily toward NATO. When the threat emerged from the south, they were completely caught off guard. Experts pointed out that the curvature of the Earth prevented Russian radar from detecting low-flying UAVs until they were only seconds away from their targets. Even the advanced S-400 systems proved helpless against these small, silent intruders. By the morning of October 12, images had spread across the world. Primorsque engulfed in flames, 2 massive oil tankers destroyed, and pipelines glowing red hot.
Primorske operation was more than an attack. It was a declaration of a new era of warfare, an era where victory depends not on expensive weapons, but on intelligent tactics, precise programming, and the ability to exploit every available resource. With nothing but low-cost UAVs, Ukraine had pierced one of the densest air defense networks on the planet, delivering an unprecedented economic and strategic shock to Russia.
That night, over 70 drones, most built from plywood and civilian components, flew more than 1,000 kilometers, bypassing hundreds of radar layers to strike at the heart of Russia's oil economy. The Primorske port burned brightly for days afterward, a torch illuminating the limits of Russian power, and a sign that in modern warfare, intellect can defeat steel, and a swarm of cheap drones can shake a superpower. Amid the Inferno of Primorske, where steel and fire merged into one, the world witnessed a miracle, a small nation forcing a superpower to its knees. Not through sheer strength, but through intelligence, courage, and unshakable faith in God. From the ruined fields, they had forged a miracle, turning each small UAV into a weapon of justice. As the smoke slowly cleared over the Baltic, only the light of faith remained, and the blue and yellow flag waved proudly in the wind. Glory to Ukraine! Glory to those who believe in God and in freedom!